You've been running your entire life. Running from pain. Running from discomfort. Running from anything that threatens to crack open your carefully constructed sense of safety. And the world has taught you well. It's given you 1,000 ways to run. Distractions. Addictions. Screens. Substances. Busyness. Noise. Anything to avoid the one thing you're most terrified of. Sitting still with your pain. But here's what I learned in a place where there was nowhere to run, no way to escape, no distraction powerful enough to drown out the agony. When you finally stop running from pain, something extraordinary happens. It doesn't destroy you like you feared. It embraces you. It transforms you. It reveals something you've been searching for in all the wrong places. Your own strength. Let me take you back to my first night in the camp. I was lying on a wooden plank. No mattress. No blanket. Bodies pressed against me on both sides. And the pain wasn't just physical, though that was overwhelming. It was existential. The pain of knowing my wife might be dead. My parents might be dead. My life's work destroyed. Everything gone. And my first instinct was to escape. To go somewhere else mentally. To dissociate. To imagine I was somewhere else. Anywhere else. And I tried. I closed my eyes and tried to transport myself to a memory. A lecture hall. My office. Anywhere but here. But it didn't work. Because the pain was too big. Too immediate. Too inescapable. And after hours of fighting it, hours of trying to run from it mentally since I couldn't run from it physically, I gave up. I stopped fighting. I stopped trying to escape. And I just felt it. All of it. The grief. The terror. The hopelessness. The physical agony. The mental anguish. I let it wash over me like a wave. And you know what happened? I didn't drown. I didn't disintegrate. I didn't go insane. I just was. In pain. Fully present with it. And in that presence, something shifted. The pain was still there. But my relationship to it changed. It was no longer this external enemy trying to destroy me. It was just a sensation. An experience. A part of being alive in this moment. And by accepting it, by stopping the exhausting work of running from it, I found a strange kind of peace. Not happiness. Not relief. But peace. The peace that comes from surrender. From acceptance. From finally stopping the war with reality. And this is what no one tells you about pain. The pain itself isn't the worst part. The worst part is the resistance. The fighting. The running. That's what drains you. That's what destroys you. The pain is just pain. But the resistance to pain? That's suffering. And most of what you call suffering is actually just your refusal to accept what's happening. Think about it. When you have physical pain, what makes it unbearable? Not the sensation itself, but your mind screaming, no, this shouldn't be happening, I can't handle this, make it stop. When you have emotional pain, what makes it devastating? Not the feeling itself, but your terror of the feeling, your belief that if you fully feel it you'll be destroyed by it. So you run. You distract. You numb. You do anything to avoid direct contact with the pain. And in doing so, you make it worse. Because pain that's avoided doesn't disappear. It accumulates. It festers. It grows in the darkness of your avoidance. It becomes a monster in the shadows, more terrifying than it actually is because you refuse to look at it directly. But pain that's acknowledged? Pain that's faced? Pain that's allowed? That pain transforms. It moves through you. It teaches you. And then, surprisingly, it releases you. I had a patient years after the war. A woman who had lost her child in an accident. And she came to me 5 years later, still unable to function. Still paralyzed by grief. And I asked her, "Have you cried?" And she said, "I can't. If I start crying, I'll never stop. I'll fall apart completely." So she held it in. For 5 years. Holding back an ocean of grief because she was terrified of drowning in it. And that holding, that resistance, was destroying her more thoroughly than the grief itself ever could. And I told her something that shocked her. I said, "You need to fall apart. You need to cry. You need to let yourself break. Not because breaking is the goal, but because you're already broken. You're just using all your energy to hold the pieces together, to maintain the illusion of wholeness. And that effort is what's killing you. So stop. Let go. Let yourself shatter. And then, after you've fallen apart completely, we'll help you put yourself back together. But differently. More honestly. More truly." And she looked at me like I was asking her to jump off a cliff. Because that's what it feels like. Facing your pain feels like choosing destruction. But that's the illusion. You think avoiding pain is protecting yourself. But it's not. It's just postponing the inevitable while paying interest on it every single day. Pain that's not processed doesn't go away. It just goes underground. It becomes anxiety, depression, addiction, physical illness, relationship dysfunction. 1,000 symptoms that all trace back to one source. Unprocessed pain that you keep running from. So she tried. In my office. She finally stopped running. She let herself feel what she'd been avoiding for 5 years. And she cried. Deep, wrenching sobs that came from a place beyond words. And it was brutal to witness. But I didn't try to stop it. I didn't try to comfort her or make it better. I just sat there and held space for her pain. Let it be what it was. And after maybe 20 minutes, the crying slowed. Then stopped. And she looked up at me with this expression of wonder. And she said, "I'm still here. I thought I would disappear. But I'm still here." And that's the revelation. That's what you discover when you stop running. You're stronger than you think. The pain that you thought would destroy you doesn't. It hurts, yes. It's difficult, yes. But you survive it. You're still here. And not just surviving it, but in some strange way, being strengthened by it. Like a bone that breaks and heals stronger at the break point. In the camps, I watched people break down daily. And the ones who couldn't handle it, who kept trying to deny what was happening, who kept running mentally from the reality they were in, they were the ones who gave up. Who walked to the electric fence. Who died not from the conditions but from the resistance to the conditions. But the ones who faced it. Who said, "Yes, this is hell, yes, I'm suffering, yes, this is unbearable, but I'm going to bear it anyway." They survived. Not all of them. The conditions killed many. But their spirits remained intact. Because they stopped fighting reality and started working with it. And this applies to your life right now. Whatever pain you're running from, whatever emotion you're avoiding, whatever reality you're denying, it's not going away because you're not looking at it. It's just growing stronger. More insistent. More desperate to be acknowledged. Your pain is like a child crying for attention. And you can ignore it, shove it in a room and turn up the music, but it will only cry louder. Or you can turn toward it. Pick it up. Acknowledge it. And in that acknowledgement, it calms down. Let me tell you what happens when you stop running. First, you realize the pain isn't as unbearable as you thought. You've been building it up in your mind, making it into this apocalyptic force. But when you actually face it, it's just pain. Difficult, yes. Unpleasant, yes. But survivable. You can hold it. You can sit with it. You can let it be there without being destroyed by it. Second, you discover information. Pain is a messenger. It's trying to tell you